So same thing like with a front, you want to start from top to bottom. So my air inlet up here is properly secured and it's free of obstruction. So the best you can, just try to look, make sure there's no beads or debris, anything like that. Anything that has a storage, so your coolant reservoir, power steering, fuel water separator, motor oil, and on the other side you got your windshield washer fluid. You want to make sure that all your caps are on there, they're all tight and secured, and you want to check the levels. So my power steering fluid is a little bit above the mid, which is good. My coolant is full. My motor oil, you can pull it out and check. Obviously it's full. And then on the other side you can check the windshield wash fluid. And anything that has hoses, so this is one of your air hoses. Make sure there's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. Check all your clamps, make sure your clamps are tight and secure. This coolant hose here, you want to make sure your clamps are tight and secure. The hose itself, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and it's not leaking. This is one of my radiator hoses here as well. Want to make sure that you can say the same thing, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, it's not leaking there. So my engine oil cap is on there, tight and secured. My power steering fluid reservoir, the reservoir itself is not cracked or broken, it's properly secured, it's not leaking. My clamps are tight and secure, and my hoses, there's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, or ABCs for short, and it's not leaking. My fuel water separator, the cap is on there, tight and secure, the housing is not cracked or broken, it's not leaking, and you want to check your electrical cables here, and on the other side, make sure you don't have any cut, torn, or frayed wires. And these here are your fuel lines that supply fuel to your filter to get the water out of it. So you want to make sure that your lines here, there's no abrasions, bulges, cuts, not leaking any fuel. This is your steering shaft. You want to move it back and forth. Make sure there's no more than 1 inch of play. Now when you do your end cap, it's 2 inches of play. Out here is 1 inch. So this is just like with your drive shaft. You want to look at your yokes here. So look at your yokes. Make sure your yokes, they're not cracked or broken. And in between, you have a universal joint, or U-joint for short. You want to make sure that your yokes aren't cracked or broken, and your U-joint is present and secured, and it seems to be properly greased. Right here, this is your power steering gearbox. Now, it's your gear box, so that gives you a hint, it's gear driven. And when you call off this, you also want to call off your air compressor being gear driven. So they want to hear you say the word gear driven. So call both off at the same time. My power steering gearbox is properly secured, it's not leaking any fluid, it's gear driven, along with my air compressor here. Look at all your air lines, make sure there's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. I don't hear any audible air leaks. Right here, this is your pitman arm. And this is your drag link here. And they're both secured with a cast iron cotter pin, which you can literally see right here. So you have a cast iron cotter pin. There's another one right here. You can see it? All right, and then, actually you really can't see it, but on the back side there's your tie rod. It's the bar that goes all the way across. On the back side, that also has a cast iron cotter pin. So it's your pitman arm, drag link. Those are secured together with cast iron cotter pins. Your tie rod also has a cast iron cotter pin. And you gotta make sure all three of those, none of them are like bent or broken. You gotta make sure they're not damaged. See it? All right, you see it?
Yeah, I know.
All right. And then you wanna make sure your pitman arm and drag link, they're properly greased, which obviously you can tell that they're properly greased. You got your leaf spring here. You want to make sure your leaf spring itself is not cracked or broken and it's not shifted. You have your leaf spring hangers, mounts, shackles, whatever you want to call it. You want to make sure that the mount, shackle, or hanger, they're not cracked or broken. They're properly secured to the frame, and the bolts seem to be, you know, tight and secure. Right here, these are your two U-bolts. You will get those confused with U-joint and U-bolt, I guarantee it. So your U-bolts here, they're tight and secure, physically touch them. If you don't touch them, then they're not going to give you points for it. You have your shock absorber. It's tight and secured. It's not cracked or broken, and it's not leaking. Then you got your hose here from your water pump. It's not leaking any fluid, any coolant. The clamps on are tight and secure, and the hose itself, there's no abrasions, bulges, cuts, not leaking. You have all your air lines here. Same thing, no abrasions, bulges, cuts, no audible air leaks. All your electrical wires here, your harnesses and all that, they're all properly secured, and there's no cut, torn, or frayed wires. Let's see if I got anything on this side. Then you got your brake chamber. So you have your brake chamber. You want to make sure your clamp here is tight and secure. The brake chamber itself is properly secured. I don't hear any audible air leaks. My air line here, there's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. It's properly secured. Again, no audible air leaks. My electrical cable here, this is your ABS cable. You want to make sure that there's no cuts or tears in it, and all your connectors seem to be, you know, secured. Now with your brake chamber, you want to check the adjustment on your brakes. So this piece I'm pointing at here, that's your slack adjuster, and this piece going in is your push rod. You need to pull on the slack adjuster and make sure it's no more than 1 inch of play. So make sure your brakes are properly adjusted. So I can hop in and do it for you guys so you can see.